hearing to order. It is 6:36. This is an ordinance of the Borough of Westchester, Chester County, Pennsylvania, amending the code of the Borough of Westchester, Chapter 97, titled Subdivision and Land Development, to amend Section 978 to repeal the definition of height of building and add definitions of height of building or structure, grade plane and finished grade, and to amend Section 9743 B2A13, applicable to development plans, and to adopt a new attachment 4 to Appendix D in Chapter 97 to illustrate the method or calculation of grade plane and height of building or structure, and to amend Chapter 112 titled Zoning, Section 112-202 to repeal the definitions of height of building or structure and building and structure height, and add new definitions of building and structure height, height of building or structure, grade plane, and finished ground, and to adopt a new attachment 5 to Appendix E in Chapter 112 to illustrate the method for calculation of grade plane and height of building or structure. Ms. Camp?
Yes, thank you. So this is an amendment to both your subdivision land development ordinance and your zoning ordinance because they both address how to calculate building height. This is one of the initiatives that came from your Borough Planning Commission as a result of some confusion about how you interpret building height when the 410 South High Street apartment building came in. So this, again, was something the Planning Commission thought was a necessary amendment. And I will tell you that it was not an easy task. Municipal codes, both zoning, subdivision land development, and building codes really have a lot of different and varying ways to do this. And there was a lot of thought put in and input from your planner, Mr. Committa, as well as the many architects that you're fortunate to have to serve on your planning commission. So this process took some time. And we also got comments from the county planning commission. So I do want to have the minutes reflect that we followed the procedures that are required under the municipalities planning code to actually hold this public hearing for you to consider these amendments to those two codes. We did advertise tonight's hearing in the Daily Local on February 4th and February 11th. I sent a copy of the ordinance to the Daily Local News and to the Law Library on January 31, 2025. Your planning commission, they did initiate this, but they then, with our guidance and the planner's guidance, there were several iterations. The final version was reviewed by the planning commission on February 19th, and they did support this amendment. And then also the Chester County Planning Commission reviewed several iterations, and their last review letter is dated January 7, 2025. So happy to answer any questions, but again, it's really to clarify in both of those codes how you measure the building height and structure height. The other part is when somebody submits a development plan, they want to make sure that appropriate documentation is provided so that your building code and zoning code officer can determine whether the building height is the correct, what the applicant is saying is the correct height. We're adding to the procedures for when you submit something, what all you need to submit so we can verify that calculation. So that's really the purpose of this amendment.
Council, any comments, questions? It's been a long haul. I appreciate all the work done by everyone to get this done. It's probably been 9 months.
Yes.
8 months at least. So thank you. Any public comments or questions? Okay, Mr. Metric, I guess it would be appropriate to call the question.
Motion to approve the ordinance as is.
Seconded.
Mr. Metric, call the question.
Ms. Dorsey,
Yes.
Mr. Flynn.
Yes.
Ms. Vaccaro,
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis, Mr. Travis,
Yes.
Ms. Shimoni,
Yes.
and Mr. McCoy.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to the Borough Council meeting. It is 6:41, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Ms. Dorsey. Okay, we have a few announcements. We have vacancies on the Westchester Borough Boards, Commissions, and Committees, including the Civil Service Commission. This is an alternate position with a borough residency requirement. Human Relations Commission, also a borough residency requirement, and the individual shall not hold any office in any political party. The Planning Commission has an opening as well with a borough residency requirement. Public Arts Commission, and finally, the Tree Commission. We had a executive session this evening, February 19th, to discuss legal matters. Next, we'll move on to comments, suggestions, petitions by residents and attendants regarding items not on the agenda. Mr. Cook, we missed you last evening.
Darrell Cook, South Walnut Street. I understand traffic calming. Today, I had a chance to speak to inspectors on South High Street. I was informed another municipality that had a PennDOT bump out project. After 5 years, they decided to have it removed. The no crosswalk signs are up now. Why do we have a bump out on South High Street at Magnolia? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to comments by the Borough Council and Mayor, starting with Ms. Vaccaro.
I just want to say thank you to everyone working at the borough, especially the Public Works Department. Over this winter, we've had a lot of salt and plowing needs, and people have come out and posted violation notices when sidewalks are still icy. They have done extra work to make sure that our streets are clean and clear, and I really appreciate all the work. Thank you.
Mr. McGinnis.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to remind everyone that Restaurant Week begins Sunday and goes through March 2nd. Great opportunity to get meals at a good rate. Some of the best restaurants in the area. I think we have a couple of them on Diario, got rated very highly, as well as some new restaurants you might want to check out. 9 Prime, Jolene's, as well as Westchester Seafood Cafe. So come on down, spend your money in the borough.
Thank you. Mr. Travis.
Excuse me. Yeah, I actually wanted to say some positive things about the South High Street streetscape. Not necessarily the bump outs, but just the general look and aesthetic. It's really coming along. I know that's another one that's been a long haul. It seems like forever. And I think originally we were hoping it would be done before winter. Stuff happens. But I particularly want to focus on the area where the 7-Eleven is. That sidewalk, parking lot, paved over asphalt area was, I think, so dangerous to pedestrians trying to walk across there because you really didn't know whether it was a sidewalk or whether it was a road. But it's very clearly calibrated now to see that there's an entrance and an exit and there's a clear sidewalk path through there. And just the general idea of the South Street project, making our sidewalks safer, I think is coming along nicely. So I just wanted to say some positive things.
Thank you. Ms. Dorsey.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. I'd like to reiterate everything that my co-counsel folks up here said. I also want to give a shout out to committee members that volunteer their time to participate in our committees that make Westchester a better place. So, you know, we've got several openings on committees. We had several probably a month or two ago, and we had several volunteers, and it is a commitment of your personal time. It is volunteer time, and I just want to say thank you to those who do that.
Mr. Flynn.
Thank you. Greetings from the 6th Ward, the sweetest ward in the borough. I'm going to step outside the ward for a minute and take a second to thank Andy Galletto for cooking and buying food at wholesale prices to feed the less fortunate in our community. 8 months ago, Gene Franklin, our health inspector, stopped home cooked meals at Safe Harbor and at Dorothy Day Room. Our homeless have been going without hot meals all winter long. Andy has been cooking 2 times a week and feeding the community out of the food at his seafood place on 926, so people could get a hot meal. So if you happen to run into the county commissioner or Gene Franklin, tell him to follow the state regulation. Non-exempt, religious, and soup kitchens are exempt. That's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture. Our own state rep, Chris Paelli, was the only one who stood up against the county commissioners to tell them to get off their duff and feed the people if you don't have a plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Simone.
I don't know how to follow that. All right. Yeah, I'll go shopping there. Yes. Okay. All right. So I was going to say something a little lighter. So I'll go, I'll go with it. So first of all, some of the things I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that next week is going to be warmer than this week by far. So yay. I am thankful for the dinner that Dana prepared for all of us while we were in our executive session. It was delicious.
Meatballs were very good.
Very good. It's very good.
Great meatballs.
I was also thankful for when I went into the ladies' room and I found a space heater warming it up. I didn't want to leave. Thank you. Yeah, yes. Thank you to the mayor for complaining that it was cold in there, that now we have I am thankful for the Planning Commission and all the work that they've done over the past year and the work that they still have on their docket that they're going to be working on. They've done a great job and I'm really pleased for that. And finally, I'm thankful for residents with opinions. You know, we had a really good conversation last week. We have good conversations all the time. We had a good conversation last week about ICC requirements, and that came about from me being at dinner and just starting to talk to people and ask them what they were thinking, and they told me. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate all of you guys that are here tonight. You know, Daryl, that you are here all the time, you know, and providing details and thoughts and everything. And you know, we do a better job when we have feedback from all of you guys. And so thank you for that. Lisa, you're sitting out there too. Thank you for all your safety call outs this past year when we were talking about short-term rentals and everything. And just so thanks to you all. Thanks to anybody who is listening out there, and keep them coming.
Thank you. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, President. I'm talking about being thankful also. So it must be the Valentine's glow that is still affecting council, because 2 things. One day when I was shopping in the grocery market, a gentleman came up to me and said, "Oh, Madam Mayor." And I said, "Yes." And he was like, "You know, I love the Borough. And one thing about the Borough, it's just like a well-oiled machine, isn't it?" And I was like, "Well, yes." At the time, it didn't feel so well-oiled when I said yes, but it does feel well-oiled, because whenever, and this is what I am thankful for, because whenever there is a lapse, the good people of the borough join together and they come together and they fill that void. And so there isn't a lapse. They stand in the gap and they figure out how to get the job done, and it always gets done. And so I'm thankful for all the employees in the borough here that have stood in the gap and filled the spaces to get the job done. And so I say thank you to each and every one of you.
Thank you. Well, I might as well stick with the thankful mode. I am thankful that spring will be here in 31 days. Many other things, of course, but I really am most thankful for that right now. And just remember, when you're enjoying going out for restaurant week, we have plenty of entertainment. Uptown Entertainment, for instance, has 3 or 4 nights a week of a program, always good stuff. And I think it's next Friday is the the Artists Unite for LA, and 100% of the sales go to the Fire Foundation, California Fire Foundation. So that's all I have. And with that, any other announcements? Okay, we will move on to item 6. The annual reports and presentations, annual Civil Service Commission report.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Wilson. I'm Chair of the Civil Service Commission. We provided you with a written report during summarizing our activities of the last year, but I thought I'd give you a personal report and an opportunity to ask questions. So during the past year, 2024, we participated in the swearing of our police chief, Joshua Lee, and we oversaw promotional testing for officers, which resulted eventually in the promotion of Lieutenants Gorman and Dietz, Sergeants D'Annunzio and Gallo, and Corporals Simcox, Barnes, and Hill, not all at the same time, but over the years. We also evaluated a new hire applications for the position of patrolman, a process which actually began in late 2023, but resulted in us providing a certified list to the mayor and eventually the swearing in, which we attended, of Patrolman Ronald Cross. We also updated the rules and regulations so that they were consistent with changes which have been made in the state statute. We approved them, and then ultimately they were adopted by your body in December, and with the assistance of our solicitor. I'd also like to say a special thank you to Reese Davis, who is, as secretary, prepared the report for you. Reese just concluded 26 years of service on the Civil Service Commission at the age of 97. So I'd also let you know that we started another process for hiring 2 patrol officers in 2025. One of the other accomplishments for last year was we switched to a application police app, which we thought would both do 2 things. One, increase the visibility of our request for applications, which we hoped would result in more applications, and also reduce the amount of staff time necessary to process and handle the applications. So far, well, this year, we've received 128 applications, which is more than double the last time. So we've achieved at least one of our goals. Any questions?
I'm not surprised you have so many applicants for the job. It's a great department, and something that
The numbers have,
proud of.
over the years, have been coming down. Police departments nationwide have been having more trouble getting applicants, so we're real pleased.
And I might add, that was the 128 applicants Westchester received was in direct contrast to like the 30 applications Willistown and West Goshen received. They received far less than the 60 we even received last year. And theirs is, quite frankly, their pay is a little higher and their process is a little easier because they don't require the civil service exam. So, receiving 128 applicants for basically 2 slots is amazing.
Yes.
So Kathy, we're at 40, the mayor just said that we have 2 openings, so we're at 42 right now. And our agreement with the police department is 44. Is that how it sits?
That I couldn't actually tell you.
Okay. Our agreement is 44, but I didn't know. The mayor just said we're down 2, so.
Yeah, we're down 2.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
did
so
see the
we're
figure.
42. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we were down 1 all last year, actually. And then someone, I think, retired again at the end of the year. It escapes me who. But yeah, so now we're down 2.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 I just didn't replace from the last applicants.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move on to old business. Starting with the discussion, motion to approve or deny ARB application 2025-02, 100 West Market Street, Junta Enterprises.
I have a little bit of introductory information for council to help make its decision. First, there's 4 slides here to go over. I printed them out and put them at your desks as well. The first slide shows a zoning map, and the dark green line on that zoning map in the downtown, which roughly covers the town center area, not completely, and it bleeds into the NC2 district there on North High Street. That dark green line are properties in the Westchester Borough Historic District. It is a zoning overlay district. So this is something that lives in your zoning code, chapter 112. And roughly speaking, it applies to all land, buildings, and structures which can be viewed from the public right of way, and no work can be done, alterations to structures, until an application to the Historic Architectural Review Board is made and a certificate of appropriateness is approved by Borough Council. So Borough Council is the approving body for these certificates of appropriateness, and you follow the recommendations or you don't follow recommendations that HARB delivers to you. So that's what we've been doing every month with those HARB applications. And I just want to point out that it's okay to do routine maintenance on buildings in the historic district as long as you're not altering the look of the building. So we're not out there. You don't need permission to paint. You don't need permission to repoint. You don't need permission to do simple maintenance on the exteriors of buildings. So what does the HARB use to evaluate? On the second slide here, it shows you there is a design guideline book. And I'm going to say these design guidelines are gray. To be honest with you, I feel they're not written like a zoning code is, where it's definite and it's black and white. What happens is there's a dialogue between the applicant and the HARB that they work on solutions that are prescribed in this design guidelines. These are design guidelines. So I think the valuable thing about the HARB is that conversation that happens between the applicant and the board to reach a conclusion, because sometimes they have to come back with different plans that are more appropriate. So that dialogue is really important. So the primary function of the HARB is to have that discussion, guide the project parameters, and then bring something that's suitable to Borough Council to approve. So on the third slide, in our particular case, there were interior renovations done to 100 West Market Street that included HVAC work, removal of certain walls on the interior, and enlarging a bathroom to make it ADA compliant. We issued permits in January and March of 2024. The building inspector noted some ADA issues with door opening hardware on the front door to the building, which is in the southeast corner on these plans facing Market and Church Streets. And in the final inspection report, 3 days later, it notes that a new door is planned in the space, but it had not been installed yet. And that work did not require a permit because the applicant wasn't altering the opening, the shape of the opening. However, that work would have required a certificate of appropriateness from HARB to go forward, and they weren't advised by our building inspector to do that. So that's the situation that led to where we are today, which is slide number 4. The door to the building was replaced after the final inspection was issued with the door you see on the right. And the before door appears to be a wooden door with divided lights. That's the little panes of glass that are broken up by structural elements, as opposed to the new door, which is aluminum clad, and the divided lights are embedded between the panes of glass. And this is where HARB's recommendation takes over. You've seen the document. Had they worked with this applicant before, they would have denied the design. So that's basically what the recommendation is to Borough Council from HARB, which is to deny this post facto door installation.
So council, we will open up the discussion on approving or denying the certificate of appropriateness.
Mr. President, I mean, I see the difference here, right? I'm okay with denying it, but giving them like 2 years to correct it. If anyone's okay with that.
Comments, questions?
That took the wind out of my sail. Why do you do that to me, McGinnis? You always throw them curveballs. Initially, yeah, well, I like the Juntas too. They're a good family and they have great baseball players and they do a lot for the area. Grant you, the new door on the right doesn't match a Harb. The door on the left before matches the windows. And that's why Harb wanted everything to be consistent. The door on the right, is nowhere near reasonable for Harb to approve it. But now that you want to give them 2 years, but totally replace it, I'll sign on with that one because I think that's a fair thing. That door on the right-hand side can be, because you put it together in 3 pieces, the 2 side lights in the center, so they could actually reuse that another one of their properties, and they have many, many properties. Thank you.
I can also live with a 2-year timeframe to bring this into appropriate materials as Harb would like.
I agree completely.
Additional comments? Okay.
So I'm clear, the motion should be to deny the current COA because the COA is asking you to approve the door on the right. But the borough would not take enforcement action that they're allowed to, that they're in violation by not having the COA. And the correspondence would be that we're giving you another 2 years to file a new application for a COA. So they'll have to come back to you for you to approve a certificate of appropriateness for a different door. But so the motion should be to deny this one, and with that same motion can be, but to ask the code enforcement department not to take any further enforcement action and to notify the applicant they'll be given 2 years to reapply and get their certificate of occupancy. I keep saying that, certificate of appropriateness for a new door.
So moved.
We have a second.
And I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Metric, please call the question.
Ms.
Did somebody make?
I did. Flynn made it and McGinnis seconded it. Right? Vaquero, I'm sorry.
Ms. Dorsey?
Your voice was deeper.
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Ms. Vaccaro?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis? Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Ms. Shimoni?
Yes.
Mr. McCoy?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. And then we will move on to the consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Mr. Metric, please call the question.
Ms. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Ms. Vaccaro?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Ms. Shimoni?
Yes.
Mr. McCoy?
Yes. Okay, is there any new business? Any other business? Seeing none, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:04. Thank you.